up, everyone? Welcome back to Pommy in Oz. So it's time once again to grab a brew, get on your favourite comfy chair, maybe get a blanket because it is a wee bit cold. Happy Australia Day to everyone as well, because we're diving into what is going on this week in the AFL. In today's show, we'll be covering everything from the pre-season matchups to players that are burning down the track to Carlton's hunt for a new president. So make sure you settle in. Don't forget to get stuck down in the comments as well. Let us know what you think of the stories and let me know who you reckon is going to shine in 2025. Let's run that intro, get straight into it. So the AFL announced the unofficial match simulations and the pre-season fixtures, and there are some doozies there, and it is that time of year where we finally get some football, we finally get to look at it, the media get to write articles about players over-celebrating, underperforming, and whatnot. So let's get straight into that first of all. And obviously the unofficial match simulations have been released, and here we are. They should be on your screen now. And we start off with the Doggies versus Essendon at the Whitton Oval, 2 p.m. You can't beat a cheeky afternoon of footy, can you? And that's a really good game, I think, really, to look at it. Geelong take on Hawks at GMHBA, and West Coast tackle Richmond. West Coast, you know, is going to be a real good little battle, that, isn't it? Because we get our first look at two teams that we think are going to be in the bottom echelons. AFL announced a fatal three-way, Gold Coast, Brisbane and Collingwood at the People's First Stadium. This is going to be a really interesting one, I find. I'm guessing that they play like a half each or something like that. It's going to be one of them weird games. We have seen that like over the we've seen 6 quarters, which is a contradiction of terms. Sydney versus GWS, and then showdown vibes continue on the Friday with Adelaide versus Port Adelaide. And then Carlton Blues on the Saturday morning, Arvo take on St Kilda with a VFL game to follow. And North will do battle with Melbourne. So that's a real good one there. Let me know what you're looking for, any fans of any of them sides, what you're looking at in them pre-season games. And then we go to the Amy Community Series, and we start off with a wonderful night game, Geelong versus Essendon. Richmond do battle with Collingwood on the Wednesday night. Thursday, late evening, we've got Hawthorn versus the Dogs and Brisbane versus Adelaide. 2 ripping ties there that really give us something to get into. GWS host Carlton on the Friday with Gold Coast playing Sydney. And then on the Saturday, we've got Saints versus Port, North versus Eagles, Fremantle versus Melbourne to wrap things up. So there you go, folks. Loads of great footy goodness to keep us busy in the mid-February, early March period. What game are you lot keen to see? Drop it in the comments and let's have a little bit of a discussion about it. Now we've got the most important thing. The clock's ticking for AFL registration deadline. 7 clubs still have list spots to fill, and there's a few spicy names being thrown into the mix. So let's have a look at who could maybe break into the locker room. We start with Carlton. They've got 2 list spots up for grabs. They haven't long-term injury listed Nick Newman as of yet. But young Matty Carroll will be a player that will be looking at this as a marauding halfback who can defend really strong. Had a real strong year for Sandringham before he was drafted by Carlton last year, and then was littered by injuries. And he'll be a bit of an unknown to most Carlton fans, but this guy has got some serious talent. And he'll be looking at the Nick Newman injury saying, I can add the depth. You've also got Sam Durden, a key defender, which is really something that Carlton are probably looking for depth-wise. He needs to shake off his injuries, but he is probably the most experienced in this group. And then they've got Denver Granger Barras, highly touted top 10 pick from Hawthorn, who is training with them. And I really like this option, and he's someone that really needs a second crack at the whip. And we've seen the success stories where some players can move and maybe start a bit slowly. It's interesting to note he is a COVID year affected player. So I've always said with that draft, look 2 years ahead. And then also Liam McMahon, the key forward. This could be a real intriguing one because this is another area that Carlton haven't been too sure of. And is this a case of Lemmy's been shifted around a bit? Carlton look at their VFL best and fairest winner and give him a shot. That could be really interesting. Essendon have thrown in a couple of interesting names. Will Hoare looks to stay on the VFL list, and it looks like they're going to shift him there but still keep him as a train-on player. He's someone who definitely has a lot of talent and a lot of untapped talent, but Kane Baldwin and Tom Edwards, Swans district key forward from the Waffle, has been brought in to train on with them to go with Kane Baldwin, who was delisted at the end of last season. Key forward versus key defender, who started as a key forward in Kane Baldwin. This could be a really interesting one. And I really do like Tom Edwards. He's really showcased it, kicked a lot of nice goals, really good work rate, and he's a mature age player. This could be something that Essendon look at. Gold Coast, they've given their train-on spots to Ben Jebson, dashing defender who has got some real tricks up his sleeve. Really showcased by an 83% efficiency for 25 touches in the year just gone. He's got a real good eye for a pass and definitely really adds that two-way running that they're looking for. And then you've got the ace, Huego Yo, a history maker from Papua New Guinea, one of the few players to come from Papua New Guinea in the AFL sub-system. He's got pace, he's X-factor, he can kick goals from nowhere, and he's a real live wire type player. So two players really battling for the spot there at Gold Coast. Port Adelaide, they went with Josh Lay from Cheltenham. He's probably someone that really has got that kind of Port ethos, real gut running, really strong and brave in the air. And then they've got Jack Watkins from the North VFL team. He's a consistent BNF winner. So they've got some real strong options there to really add some depth. West Coast, they've got Sandy Brock. He's moved back to Perth and definitely will be hungry for an option. At 198, he showed a little bit in the Gold Coast State League side. He's got some real good movement for his height. And then you've got Don Brew, who could be the feel-good story for the Dogs. He's still training on with them. The Premiership captain, just a tackle machine with 10 tackles at VFL level. His work ethic and his contested ability is really, really strong and really is a compliment to what the Dogs will build. And St Kilda finally snapped up tall ruckman, mature age Sandfield player Harry Boyd. Really excited about this one. I think he'll play some games as well for Saints. He's got something about him. He's real big, he's strong, his ruckcraft is good, but also he's not too slouchy in the defence and also when he slots forward, really opening up Rowan Marshall. So let me know, who do you guys and girls want for your teams? Who do you think deserves a last-minute spot? This will be one to watch this space. Let me know in the comments below. Drama at the Blues. We love being in the stories, and Luke Sayers was absolved with bunny ears from responsibility by the AFL Integrity Unit. And ironically, the length of time it took him to get his hacked account back, he stood down. And obviously, this creates a plethora at Carlton. And obviously, you've got a lot of dialer quotes. Vince Locciano, who has led an almost MAGA-style campaign in Carlton now to dispose every board we've had over the last 4 years. He was quick on the phone saying his piece. And Bruce Matheson, the billionaire who's propped up Carlton and his family, said it's time to clean house. This is really interesting because I kind of don't often do this, but I think with Bruce, I do often disagree with him. I think Carlton have got to look at some stabilisation, and a few names have been propped up. And it's funny because I do think Carlton have to look at this and not do what they've always done. And it's fascinating. I do think that the next guy for this year or girl has to come from the board, and that would be leading the way would be Patty Kinnersley and Robert Priestley. And if that's something that they can co-chair it till the end of the year, and then we look at a big board AGM type thing at the end of the year. But as usual, Carlton have got so many rats in the kitchen wanting to eat the scraps that it's all come out. Names like Chris Judd, former Premiership player at the Eagles and Carlton Brownlow medalist hero. He now, as a businessman, used to be an advisory to the board. He's a name that's been thrown up. Anthony Koutafidis has been thrown up as well. For me personally, Carlton have done this whole thing with sticks and stuff. Go for the ex-legend. I want someone to come in who is passionate about winning, not passionate about the club per se. Martin Pakula, the former Labour Minister and Grand Prix Australia chairman, he's a name that's been sought after. We obviously know Patty Kinnersley runs the Respect campaign and our watch chief. You've got the industrially heavyweight banker that is Robert Priestley. Tom Elliott, son of John, there's that little castaway there that Carlton love. And an interesting left field pick was the AFL Commission President, former chairman, two-time Premiership captain in Mike Fitzpatrick, who for me, is the only name that jumps off this list here who isn't already involved with the board. There was also Josh Frydenberg, former #1 ticket holder, which again opens another can of worms. You know what? What really annoys me about this whole situation, and I think that we shouldn't be in like a president's spill coming up late January, early February. I think that's absolutely madness for Carlton to do. But what I will say on this subject is the Luke Sayers situation has been handled exactly like Carlton, in my opinion, for the last 15 years have handled everything. They first ignore the problem. They then choose to deflect the problem. And then when the problems become too big for them to actually hide or just oversee and it hasn't got better itself, they then find the pariah to shoot at the altar and then just go, move on. And I found Luke Sayers' statement of this will draw a line in the sand in it incredibly arrogant, and everything that's wrong with Carlton. You can't tell people that they have to have this opinion because the people decide if you've done it. And there's so many unanswered questions about the AFL statement and how he resigned that for me, it doesn't draw a line under it. It just creates the line murky and then makes the fresh start in murky waters, which is kind of the pattern Carlton have done. So Carlton have got a lot of work to do, but hopefully Carlton just do the right thing, stabilise for this year, don't try and cause any too many off-season distractions. Who do you want to steer the ship, Carlton fans and opposition fans? Your opinion is equally as important. Toss your thoughts in the comments, and you know what? Don't hold back. It's a safe space. North Melbourne, Harry Sheezel might be shuffling positions in 25, and word is he's going to be a full-time mid-forward as the man himself, and this could be a game changer for the Roos. An ankle injury late in 2024 meant he missed the final couple of games, and he confirmed this week he will be playing exclusively as a mid-forward. It's really interesting. For the first half of last season, he only spent 15% of the time, just under, in the midfield. A staggering 47% of centre-half bounces he attended after round 8. And his season was phenomenal. 29.8 touches, 6 from 3 marks, 3.8 tackles per game. An absolute dynamo there. The Shees, I feel he's going to be a real big breakout player here. And I feel like you're going to see some superb work from him. One of the best young players in the competition, and I feel like very understated. He's definitely someone that I would have a look at, potentially taking out Brownlow votes. The reason I say this is when we look in the AFL historically, lower end clubs that slightly rise, and I think they'll get 6 wins around that mark, really do shine. And I feel like Sheezel has got the dynamicness, the ability to hit targets, and also the evasion that could really make that midfield really handy and exciting. What do you think, Roos fans? I reckon he's going to be a lock in your fantasy side. Do you think Sheezel will thrive as a full-time mid? I'm predicting he will. And we end with the Wizard, the most exciting young forward line in the comp, Hawthorn. And Nick, the Wizard Watson, pulled off an absolute specky at training. And it just shows he's continuing this season as he finished yet last. I reckon Hawthorn fans and AFL fans are in for a treat. According to reports, Will Day looked sensational in his midfield role as well. And there was a real emphasis on stoppage work and spreading. It really does feel like Hawthorn are one of them teams that we're all going to secretly want to watch. I'm really looking forward to this, and it was a real good feel-good story for Watson taking an absolute crazy hanger. That forward line is blockbuster. Let me know, though, fans, what do you think about Hawthorn? I feel like they're going to not plateau so much, but I don't think they're going to be a top 4 side like everyone's building them out. But I feel like this is another year that they add a little bit more experience, a tougher fixture list, but keep that exciting brand of football. What a legend, though, Nick Watson is. It was great to see a smile on his face, and I think that's the big thing about Hawthorn. They play a fun brand of football, and I feel like Wizard is going to weave his magic in the 2020 season. Let me know in the comments what you think. That is all we've got time for, legends. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit the subscribe, and share this with your footy mates. We've got a real good community here, and I love chatting footy with you. Catch you next time, same place, same YouTube channel. Pommy out.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I